Greetings and welcome to America in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I'm Dan McCaleb, Vice President of News and Content at the Franklin News Foundation, publisher of the Center Square Newswire service. Joining me again today is the Center Square's Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief, Casey Harper. Casey, we're recording this early this week on Tuesday, November 21st, so we can all spend some time with our families for the Thanksgiving holiday. Do you have any plans, Casey?
Oh, pretty traditional Thanksgiving for us. The turkey, the gravy, maybe throw a football around. Hopefully not spend too much money on Black Friday. Do you brave the Black Friday crowds, Dan, or your family do that?
No, never.
You're not looking for a near-death experience, I guess?
No, not looking for any deals where I can save $1 on a computer, anything like that. I avoid those places. I don't. Post-COVID, is Black Friday still a thing? I guess I should know.
Definitely still a thing, but it's hard for me to understand why with Amazon. And I guess really what I'm getting at here is like, this is a good opportunity for you to save money on my Christmas present. So whether it's now or later, just be thinking about that.
I've got my list, Casey, and I'm checking it twice.
Great. So. Thanks, Dan.
Actually, Casey, it's probably time to start talking about a little bit of news. You have been reporting at thecentersquare.com on the ongoing U.S. House investigation into the Biden family's overseas business dealings and whether President Joe Biden, when he was vice president under Barack Obama, used his family name to help secure millions of dollars in cash for his family, and whether he personally financially benefited from it. You were writing an update on that story today, Casey. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, I am. I mean, there's been so many updates this month that I think have gone unnoticed. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy kicked off this impeachment inquiry earlier this year, which took it from just kind of a congressional, investigation that was sort of never ending into hey, we're going to find some facts. We're going to put something together and determine if the House should actually pursue articles of impeachment against the president because the scandal is that bad. And so they got, James Comer, who leads a Republican from Kentucky, who leads the House Oversight Committee. They got Jason Smith and Jim Jordan, who also chair Ways and Means and Judiciary Committee, respectively. And so they're cobbled together to form this impeachment inquiry. And so they've been digging in more and more. And, if you watch the media, especially cable news, I'm not sure why you would, but in the recent years about this scandal, a refrain that you've heard many times from kind of Democratic pundits or political strategists is that there's no evidence that the president was involved. Basically, that Biden was involved. There's no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. You hear that over and over. But what's been fascinating to watch is potentially evidence and come out in these recent weeks. And so what does that look like? It looks like copies of checks totaling $240,000 going directly to President Biden. Right now, I don't think we have full clarity on exactly what was going on and why those checks were sent. But $240,000 is no small amount of money. And I think we joked on a previous podcast about I don't have any family members so far writing me checks for, $200,000 and sending them over. That could, if you want to do that for my Christmas present, feel free to do that, Dan. But, and we can comment on that in a minute, but just to give you a few of the updates, they're most relevant and most recent is Comer sent a flurry of subpoenas actually to, Hunter Biden business associates, people who worked on Hunter Biden's paintings, which I'm sure you have one hanging over your mantle, one of these Hunter Biden paintings that are several $100,000. Of course, critics
is that a market? I was not aware of that. Is that a market-driven price, or is that just the Biden family trying to?
That is, one man's trash is another man's treasure, Dan. So, what is a market price in the art market, which is kind of notoriously used by the wealthy to evade taxes and do other things, not just the Biden family if they did do it for that reason. But of course, that's been under scrutiny because when you have the son of a vice president or president who's getting huge sums of money, big loans for his quote unquote art, when he was, not exactly known for an artist before his father went into politics or even in recent years, it seems a little convenient. And of course, that does it pass the smell test. And I think if it was just that alone, it probably wouldn't be enough to get anybody in trouble. But there's just so many things going on. As you said, over $24 million is the latest figure from the House Oversight Committee that the Biden family and associates raked in from several countries overseas, including adversarial nations. So we're talking China, Russia, as well as Ukraine, Romania, Kazakhstan. And so these, this money is allegedly being shuffled through a lot of shell companies and ending up some of it allegedly in the president's bank account. So Comer sent several subpoenas. A former White House counsel, Dana Remus, is a notable one. And why this is notable, and this is probably the biggest development, Dan, I'll pass it over back to you after this. But as you know, Biden had his own issues with classified documents. He had them in his garage, basically, with his Porsche. He had some in the Penn Biden Center office in Washington, D.C., and that was from his time as vice president. So he held on to these classified documents. Now, notably, former President Donald Trump is facing criminal charges for doing the exact same thing. Biden has not yet been charged. It's unclear if he will be charged. But what they want to get to the bottom of is some of these classified documents were reportedly maybe about Ukraine, which, of course, is a country that the Biden family allegedly got a lot of money from. So this classified documents case intersect with the foreign payments case is the big development and the big question.
Interesting, Casey, and all of this is unraveling. We're now less than a year away from the presidential election that takes place in November 2024. This has got to be at the minimum a big headache for the president and his campaign. As this goes forward, as new information is released, I mean, is Biden's kind of sort of lock on the Democratic nomination for president for his reelection? Is that in jeopardy in any way because of this?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you ask and how far down the Twitter rabbit hole you want to go. I mean, I think right now in the polling, Biden is pretty much unmatched among Democrats. They're not really willing to jump ship for any of the potential contenders, even people who've been talked about like Gavin Newsom. Right now, I think they're willing to toe the party line and just stick with the incumbent, which is pretty normal. I mean, it's pretty hard to get an incumbent president off the nomination. So, right now they're sticking with him. But the polling, the Center Square Voters Voice poll that we released shows that Biden doesn't do very well against the leading Republicans. He gets trounced by Nikki Haley, the former ambassador, as well as he loses to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He does beat President Trump in our poll, but other polls, basically the polling shows that it could be a dead heat. And in battleground states, it looks like Trump actually has an edge on Biden.
Right. He had some advantages in battleground states.
Exactly. So that's got to be worrying a lot of Democrats. The president's getting older. He's seeming the ongoing criticism of his mental health and his mental faculties being at 100% of, that's an ongoing thing, and it's getting worse. There's more and more gaffes or awkward videos come out every few weeks. And so, will the Democrats ride it out with him? Will they try to find some way to replace him? But it's risky because, a trusted incumbent who was able to beat Trump last time, I mean, who would you want instead of him? And can Democrats agree on someone who would actually be better for Biden than Biden, who could get the moderate votes and appeal to a similar demographic as Trump? I think that was the appeal of Biden all along. Maybe he could get some of these blue collar guys who went for Trump the first time. Biden supposedly kind of a blue collar, has that appeal more than maybe a far left candidate who could do better in a primary. So it definitely has political implications going into an election season, but man, who knows a year out.
Well, thank you for your insight, Casey. Just touching on an earlier suggestion you made, you should not be expecting any $100,000 checks from me, from the company, or anything like that. So you better seriously work on your budget for Black Friday and other holiday shopping. But we are out of time. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Casey Harper, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe. Thank you for listening, and happy Thanksgiving.